So breathwork for anxiety. I know you're already familiar with it.
Right.
And you found this really interesting article that we're going to dive into today.
Yeah.
We're going to look at some techniques that you can use every single day to find a little more calm.
Yeah.
Because who couldn't use that?
Exactly. And you know what's so cool about this is that it all comes back to your biology. Even before we get into the actual techniques, it's worth looking at the science behind all of this and why breathing has such a big impact on anxiety.
Yeah, let's break it down. Breathing and anxiety, what's the connection?
Well, just think about what happens when you feel anxious. You take those short, shallow breaths, almost like you can't really catch your breath.
Right.
That's your body going into that fight or flight mode. It's that primal response that we needed way back when to survive encounters with like a saber-toothed tiger.
Right. Our heart rate goes up, our breathing speeds up, we've got adrenaline going.
Exactly.
But the thing is, these days, the threat is not a saber-toothed tiger, it's more like a traffic jam.
Exactly. Our bodies haven't quite caught up to the fact that we're not facing down predators every single day.
Yeah.
So we get this surge of stress hormones when we don't need them, and it makes us feel more anxious.
So how do we tell our body to kind of like chill out, calm down?
Well, you can actually hack your system with something as simple as your breath. It's like this pressure valve for your nervous system. Deep diaphragmatic breathing that's from your belly, not just your chest, is key. It's like you're hitting the pause button on that fight or flight response.
So we're tricking our body into calming down.
Exactly.
You mentioned diaphragmatic breathing, but the article also mentions things like box breathing and the 4-7-8 technique. I actually used box breathing once before I had to give this big presentation.
Oh, yeah.
My heart was racing. I thought I was going to forget everything. So I went to a quiet corner and I tried it. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold for an equal count.
It's amazing how something so simple can be so effective.
Really is.
You know, it's actually used by Navy SEALs to stay calm under pressure.
Wow. Navy SEALs, that's impressive. After a few rounds, it was like somebody hit a reset button in my brain. My heart rate slowed down. I felt so much calmer and focused. But for people listening who haven't heard of these techniques before, let's break them down. Let's start with diaphragmatic breathing, since that seems to be the core of it.
Absolutely. So for diaphragmatic breathing, you want to find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. Either sitting or lying down. And then put one hand on your chest and the other on your belly, just below your rib cage. Now, as you inhale slowly through your nose, imagine that breath traveling all the way down, gently inflating your belly like a balloon. And you should feel your stomach expand, but your chest should stay relatively still.
Okay, so picturing that breath traveling down like a wave.
Exactly. And then as you exhale slowly through your mouth, gently engage those abdominal muscles to push all the air out. You should feel your belly button drawing back towards your spine.
Inhale, belly expands. Exhale, belly contracts.
Got it.
There you go.
And this isn't just for when you're feeling anxious, right? It's something that you can do anytime to just feel calmer. Ideally, yes. Even just practicing this for a few minutes every day can make a difference.
Wow.
And you can do it anywhere, at your desk, on the train, even waiting in line.
I like that. Okay, so we talked about box breathing.
Right.
And I know that involves equal counts for each phase, the inhale, the hold, exhale, hold. What makes that specific rhythm so effective, especially when you've got those high-pressure situations? You said Navy SEALs use this.
Yeah. It's all about finding that steady rhythm and quieting your thoughts.
Okay.
You're essentially creating a square with your breath.
Okay.
So you inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and then hold again for a count of 4.
Okay.
You can adjust the count to whatever feels comfortable for you, as long as each side of that box is the same length. So this rhythmic pattern really helps to regulate your breathing, which then calms your nervous system. It's like a mini meditation that you can do anytime to regain your focus and composure.
So it's like a mental reset button. Control-Alt-Delete on stress.
Exactly.
Then there's the 4-7-8 technique.
Right.
Which I remember involves a longer exhale.
Yes.
Why is that so calming?
So with the 4-7-8 technique, you inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4.
Okay.
Hold your breath for a count of 7, and then exhale completely through your mouth for a count of 8.
Okay.
When you extend the exhalation like that, you're stimulating your vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve, our friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's like hitting the chill out switch in your nervous system.
Okay.
It helps to slow your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, and just promotes that sense of relaxation. Yeah. Think about sighing deeply after a long day, that feeling of release. That's your vagus nerve kicking in and telling your body that it's time to relax.
That makes sense. The article also talks about the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique,
Right.
which seems like a really great complement to mindful breathing.
It is.
Can you explain how that works?
Yeah. So the 5-4-3-2-1 technique is really great for bringing your awareness to the present moment
Okay.
by engaging your five senses.
Okay.
And this can be super helpful when you're caught up in those spiraling, anxious thoughts.
Right.
So you start by noticing 5 things that you can see around you.
Like the color of the walls, the pattern on a rug, a leaf outside the window.
Exactly. Then you move on to 4 things that you can touch. Maybe the texture of your clothing, the smoothness of your phone, the coldness of a glass of water.
Okay.
Then 3 things you can hear.
Birds chirping, the hum of the refrigerator, maybe even the sound of my own breath.
You got it.
Okay.
Then 2 things that you can smell. Maybe it's your coffee, a scented candle, or even just the fresh air.
Right.
And then finally, 1 thing that you can taste.
Interesting. So you're really grounding yourself in your physical surroundings through your senses to sort of interrupt that loop of anxious thoughts.
Exactly. It brings your attention to the here and now, and that connection to the present moment is where mindfulness comes in.
Okay.
And how it can really amplify the benefits of breathing exercises.
It's like you're combining your breath and your senses to just feel calmer and more centered. The article also mentions guided breathing exercises. What do you think about those? Especially for someone who's just starting out.
I think guided breathing exercises can be so helpful when you're just getting started. It's like having someone right there with you, guiding you through each step. And you don't need to sign up for anything either. There are tons of apps and online classes and even YouTube channels.
Yeah. It's amazing how many resources are out there.
Right.
You can really find what works for you.
Exactly.
So don't be afraid to explore those.
And another thing the article talks about is being consistent.
Okay.
It's like anything else. The more that you practice, the easier it becomes.
Of course.
You can't expect to run a marathon after just 1 jog.
That's a good point. So it's about working it into your routine, just like anything else you do every day, like brushing your teeth.
I love that analogy.
You're building those skills to manage the stress.
Right, and it gives you the tools to deal with the anxiety.
Exactly. It's so powerful that we all have this tool, our breath,
Right.
and we can use it to feel better.
Absolutely. Your breath is always with you. It's like having a built-in stress reliever.
Wow, a built-in stress reliever. I like that. So next time you're feeling anxious, just take a moment, tune into your breath, and just breathe.
Just breathe.
You might be surprised at how much of a difference it makes.
It really does.
This has been The Deep Dive.
It sure has.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep breathing. The article focused a lot on individual practice, which is great. But it got me thinking, what about trying this stuff in a group setting? Imagine a classroom full of students or a team at work, and everyone takes a few minutes to do some mindful breathing exercises together. Could that help everyone feel calmer, more focused, maybe even more connected? Something to think about?